You can now follow me on all my social media platforms to find out who my latest guest will be. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notifications button so you're notified for when my next podcast goes live.
I put him on my lap and his lips were moving. I thought he's okay, and that was it. That was his last movement. And then when I stayed in the bedroom where the coffin was, that was hard. And then Keith made us pick him out the coffin, and I was only 10, give him a kiss and that, and it was horrible. And I ended up with loads of ticks for a few years. I remember Roy Keane once, I just taught him all the time, because I said he was a new kid on the block. And I remember going down the tunnel and I said, Roy, you reckon you're the new kid on the block? Welcome to your worst nightmare. And it was 1-1-0, but he said afterwards in the papers, he said, thank God that game's over with. He says, I've never been talked to so much in my life. I used to say, I'm sleeping with your wife, Everton under 19s. And I was up in his office and he says, Gazza, what's this kid? And I says, how old is he? He went 14. I said, what's his name? He said, Wayne Rooney. I says, under 19s, he's only 14. He went, yeah, put him on in a minute. I think it was 20 minutes ago, and I put him on. Fucking hell, he scored 2 goals. It was incredible.
Looking back in the semi-final, Paul, do you wish you would have took a penalty?
Yeah, my mind was just all over the place, you know. Sometimes it was okay, sometimes it was scary. I just felt like I couldn't go anywhere. I felt trapped indoors. I mean, the public were fantastic towards us, but just wherever I went, you know. And then obviously then the press started, and that's when I found it really hard, because the amount of lies they had on us was just horrific, you know. They were just constantly telling lies. It was murder. Sometimes I'd be in London and I'd see a couple of cars and a motorbike behind us, and I'd have to ring up the police, pull over, police come up, block them in and make me drive off. And then obviously there was the phone hacking. And I went to the toilet in the dark, it was 2 o'clock, and I touched the door handle. Next thing I know, I've got someone with a hand around my neck with a gun to me head. He just said, you know, if you score, do the sash. And I went, what's a sash? He says that, and he showed us. He says the fans that love it. When he said that, and he says the fans that love it, and I went, oh, I'll do anything for the fucking fans. I says, was he going to kill us? I went, yeah. He said, fuck me, what are you going to do about it? I went, nothing. He says, until he comes to our country, so we're not going to hang around the airport. So when I used to play, I used to look in the crowd and fucking look to see if anyone's got a gun and that. You know, if I think if any teams I'd love to play, go back and play for, but Rangers be the one. Well, when you quit, you think, what am I going to do now? You know, and I didn't really want to go into management. I did try it, catering manager. It's funny. The chairman says, Paul, get out to the 3rd division. I did, I put them in the fucking 4th. After that, you know, that Roundmoor thing, I really honestly thought it was my friend and that, and didn't realise what he had did to other people until obviously after about 2 weeks when I pulled myself around and thought, fucking hell.
Boom, we're on. And today's guest, we've got footballing legend Paul Gascoigne.
Hi mate, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Paul. How are you?
Yeah, I'm alright, not too bad. The thing is, like everybody else, you know, regards to coronavirus. I mean, I haven't got the virus, but I've got the corona in the fridge. Nah, it's alright, not too bad, just kicking along.
Yeah, it's a weird time for everybody. It's just got to keep your head above water. But you're looking well, keeping fit?
Yeah, I did some training for a few weeks, morning and night at the health form, and I was going to go back the spa, but it was because of the virus they've had to shut it down, so really just doing the odd bike work and the odd pull-ups, a few sit-ups indoors. Apart from that, nothing really.
Yeah, but at least you're doing something.
Yeah, just try and keep busy really.
Yeah, absolute honour to have you on today, Paul. You're an absolute legend in Scotland, England, everywhere around the world basically, so yeah, it's good to get you on, get you through your story and understand you a bit more. But I always go back to the start for my guests, where you grew up and how it all began.
Well, I come from my mum's vagina and then I grew up in a small little village in Gateshead, but little Dunstan. And then, I mean, when I was 7, we used to have we had loads of boys' clubs. One was Regis Boys Club. I mean, like Shearer went to Wallsend Boys Club, and Ian Bogan and a few of the other players like Lee Clark and Carrick went there. But I went to Regis Boys Club, and then my dad used to walk us. It was a couple of miles. Used to walk us there, and I used to jump over the wall, and then my dad used to nick to the pub for a couple of hours, and then I used to do there. We played like football, table tennis, and I went there every day. You know, every night I went there, and you know, when my dad first bought me with football when I was 7, first leather football, I just kept it. I slept with it, I dribbled it everywhere, dribbled it to school, used to hide the ball, and then dribble it all the way back, just non-stop playing, you know, and then obviously I used to watch the old match of the day. I think the first one I really watched that stood out was the Johan Cruyff turn, and I mastered that. And then I just obviously I used to love school, and more because of the PE lessons and obviously playtime, and I used to just constantly play football. You know?
So your passion came through it straight away. As soon as you got a ball, you just basically came into your blood that football's where you wanted to go.
Well, my mum said I used to kick a little tennis ball about when I was 3 all the time, non-stop. But when I got that first football, I just fell in love with it, you know. I was just constantly playing football.
Who was the player you looked up to at Newcastle at that time?
I didn't really watch much of the football at Newcastle. I remember everyone was raving about Super Mac, how quick he was and a great forward. You know, and I always remember they signed Willie McFall. I went to watch Willie McFall when he played in Ireland, I think it was. And they were going to sign him, and he let 7 goals and they still signed him. But mostly, I think, you know, growing up, it was this, all I ever heard was obviously the 3 was Jackie Milburn, Joe Harvey, which is he was great support of me. So was Jackie Milburn before he passed away. But then Malcolm McDonald was the main man, wasn't he? Yeah. Just growing up and that, but I never got to watch any of the games. But when I got a bit older, I think it was 16, when I was a ball boy a couple of times.
Did you always dream about, because I know I've seen some of your documentaries and you always dreamed about playing at St James's Park?
Yeah, I always remember, because when we moved from where I used to live, we lived miles away from the stadium, and I could hear the crowd singing when I used to play football outside. You know, and I always thought, oh, one day I'd love to play for them. And it's just when I was 16, my mum had 4 jobs, my dad was working as a hod carrier in Germany and that. And when he come back, and I just said to them when I was just about turned 16, I says, well, I'm going to make a professional footballer. I'm going to make sure you two never ever have to work again.
You looked after them?
Yeah. And my fucking dad's passed away and I'm still looking after him. Yeah. God, that's the way it feels. But yeah, and then, you know, the break come through when I was given a 2-year apprentice, you know. So I knew when I left school, I was going to go straight to a job, which was something I loved, football, you know.
I know you lost your friend, Paul, when you were 10 as well. Did that play a big part in your life?
Yeah, more like tics more than anything. I ended up with loads of different stupid habits. Like, one was like a pigeon noise. I used to go, and I remember getting kicked out of the assembly for that. And then I'd stop that one and go into another twitch. And I had that for a couple of years. I couldn't get rid of it. I remember once in the... well, I had one where we moved my neck. And I remember getting this girl, she's really nice. And I got a number before I went to the World Cup. I think it was after the first game. She went, what's the matter with your neck? I felt embarrassed. I went, oh, nothing. She went, I don't want to go here anymore. So that was a really one game. Yeah, but I ended up with, for about 3 years, I couldn't get rid of them. It was a nightmare. It was a shame because his mum said, you know, 2 brothers. Steve was my age and he was 8. Steve was 8 and Keith was 10 my age, and I used to go with Keith, and Keith didn't want to go because Steve was going, and it was his first time at the Reggie Boys Club. He said, look after him. I says, I will. And went to the shop, and then we come out the shop and start running in front of an ice cream van. He was 1 yard in front of me and he got hit. He must have went about 30 yards, and then I ran down, and the guy in the car stayed in his car, and he was about 20 yards away, and I put him on my lap, and his lips were moving. I thought, he's okay, and that was it. That was his last movement. And then I went and stayed in the bedroom where the coffin was. That was hard. And then Keith made us pick him out the coffin. I was only 10, give him a kiss and that, and it was horrible. And I ended up with loads of tics for a few years, you know. Yeah. But then, luckily enough, they went away. Yeah. It
must have been difficult then going through that, Paul, because it's not like now where a lot of people must be speaking out, there's a lot more help. For you going through that trauma at 10 years old, do you think that kind of affected you, why the addictions as well came into play?
Probably.
Later on in life?
Probably, I would like to think so. I hope so. Yeah, I did, you know, I didn't start smoking, I was like 30 odd. And I learned about cocaine in rehab. Because I thought, oh, what does that do for you? And I thought, oh, I'll try that when I get rehab and leave the drink, which I did do. And then obviously my dad got me help. Got us put away for 11 days, and I learned to bear with it. And you know, I never bothered with that since. I mean, I went psychotic. It was horrible. I had it for a couple of months. I thought it was never going to go away. But when it went away eventually, you know, I was pleased about that. But yeah, I mean, my first date, you know, I always wanted to score the Gallagher end. And it did happen, you know. I remember I can't remember, I come inside once. I think it was Dan Jackson who played the Tippers. And I pretended to shoot, brought it inside and hit the stanchion. So, you know, then I jumped on the fence. It was brilliant because some of my friends were actually in the crowd. And, you know, I used to go to, well, I was only on 25 quid a week. My mum was on 30 quid a week. And I was on 25. And I says, Mum, no. So I should be on 30 and you 25. She went, no, I've got the dogs to feed. So we were getting beans on toast. The dog was getting filled steak. But going to the games, I used to... you know, like I'd be playing against Man United, I'd be on the bus with the fans, and they didn't know I was playing for Newcastle United, and I was sitting on, I'm going to be playing for these shortly. And I was only after the game, I'd get on the bus back home, and I always remember the one guy just looked at us. He went, "Have you just been playing before for Newcastle?" And I put my head down a little bit. I went, "Yeah." He said, "Well, if you don't play better the next game, you'll be walking home." And I made sure I did all right the next game, like, but. Yeah, until I bought my first car, which was a $3,000 Mini, which was all right. Yeah, I felt the bollocks then.
Mm-hmm. What was it like signing for Newcastle?
Yeah, it was good. You know, I was sitting there signing there, and I knew I was going to be getting paid for the next 2 years, so that was okay. And then I wasn't in a youth team. You know, I was always subbing that, and he would never play us. And I mean, my diet wasn't great. I used to like buy a packet of mints, a bottle of Coke and fish and chips at night. And then Jack Sean became manager, and he pulled us aside. I was 16 and a half, and he went, "Yeah, you're a good player." I says, "Yeah, I am." He says, "How long you got in your contract?" So I was cocky, and I went, 2 years. He went, "You got 2 weeks, you fat bastard." He says, so lunchtime, he used to send us to the cafe, give us steak and jack potato and that. And then I thought, that's nice for him. And he says, "Right, you're getting picked up at 6 o'clock at night." And I went, "What for?" He says, "You're going to be training with Brendan Foster, who's a runner, and he used to train the athletes." So every night, for a few weeks, I'd be training at 6 o'clock with these athletes. It was hard. And then I started training sometimes 11 o'clock at night, going for runs and that. And within a month, I was captain of the youth team, captain of the reserves. And then we played in the Youth Cup final. I scored 2, won 4-0 against Watford away. And then he come to the dressing room and he pulled us aside. He says, "Right then, you come with me tomorrow." I said, "What for?" He says, "You're going to be playing against Ipswich." I panicked. I says, "No, I don't want to. I want to go back and celebrate with the lads." And so he says, "Okay, then I'll play you next game." And then obviously, you know, I remember sitting on the bench with him. It was substitute. It was so funny. And he was sitting there, and Jack was brilliant of us. And he was sitting there, and he went, the fans started singing, Charlton out, Charlton out. And he looked at us, and he had a little cigarette in his hand. And he went, "Do you think I need this, Gaz?" I went, "Not really." He went, "See, that good luck with your career and fucked off." That was him. He gone, and I remember going to the dressing room half time. And the players went, "Where's Jack Charlton?" And when he's left, they went, "No, he hasn't." I went, he's went home, he's had enough, he's quitting. So the team went out and that, and I think we beat Sheffield. I think it was 1-0 or something like that. And then the next day, he was collecting his stuff from the office, and he opened the window, and because we won the Youth Cup, and I was on 25 quid a week, and he went, "Gaz, come up." So I went upstairs, and he pulled 120 quid out of his pocket. I went, "Oh, that's good." And he gave us it, and he went, "Cheers." So I ran downstairs, I was so excited, 120 quid. And then he opened the window, he went, £10 each for all the players. And I went, "Oh, shit." Okay, then I kept it, I think. And that was it, you know. Yeah, so, you know, I remember the first 3 games for Newcastle was like Liverpool. I got 10 out of 10 man of match. I was only 17. Then Man United got man of match. I think that's when Fergie fancied signing us. And then the other one was Tottenham. I scored 2. I remember going home and I said, "Dad, when are you going to come watch us play?" He went, "When you made it, son, you haven't made it yet." So he sort of grounded us straight away. Oh God, I've just been man of match 3 times. I think he used to watch us in the Workmen's Club. I used to go after the games and that, and then go and watch myself play on Match of the Day.
Did your dad used to get nervous watching you play?
Nah, he didn't give a shit. He just, all he used to say is, "Get buckled in, son." You know, get stuck in and that. I said, "I will do." I think it was just mostly when I was played for Tottenham at Wembley, come a couple of games. But when I moved to Italy, come watch us. You know, I enjoyed that.
How was it then, man in a match for a couple of games, scoring goals? I know you used to get nervous before games. Were you nervous then, or were you fearless?
Fearless, I didn't bother, you know. I just used to play with a smile on my face, and I never argued with any player. I used to talk to them more than anything else. And my opponents, I used to talk the living daylights of them. I remember Roy Keane once, I just talked to him all the time, because I said he was a new kid on the block. And I remember going down the tunnel and I said, "Roy, He's reckon you're the new kid in the block. Welcome to your worst nightmare. And it was 1-1-0, but he said afterwards in the papers, he said, thank God that game's over with. He says, I've never been talked to so much in my life. I used to say, I'm sleeping with your wife. He said, I'm not even married. I said, she's in the stands looking at us. And he'd look up and I'd run away with the ball now. I did the same with Robbie Savage. But I used to just love it, because, you train all week and then you look forward to the Saturday, and I would never get nervous on the Saturday because I watch sometimes the football today and I see like a centre-half come, he's got loads of space and he just smashes out of play. And I think, what do you do that in training? In training, he'd probably bring it down and thingy. So I just enjoyed it, when I got beat, I never cried. When I won, I was in tears when I won because I felt like I achieved something. And I've always been the same in any sport,
Yeah.
And then I just got more confident. I think then when I got my first goal and that, and then played against some of the top players like Brian Robson, Peter Reid, some of the top players in midfield and that, and I was getting the better of them. The second game I did with Brian Robson, he hammered us the first. I remember I played against him in Newcastle United and Man United, and he scored a penalty and he walked past us and I just looked at him and I went, great penalty, Brian. And he went, you freaking idiot. And I went, oh, that's okay. And then I went with the home game against, that was it, Liverpool. Kenny Dalglish was at the front post and I went and stood next to him and I just told him, going, wow, you're Kenny Dalglish. He just looked at us sort of smiling. I was just told him God, I was in all these people, not knowing I was so I forgot really. I was in a game with him. I just tried to enjoy it, and get on the ball as much as possible.
Yeah. What game was it, Vinnie Jones? Was your very first game? Vinnie grabbed your balls?
Yeah, the Wimbledon away. Just remember being in the dressing room.
Was he a tough bastard, Tim?
Yeah, he was a hard bastard as well. I was just in the dressing room, and the manager, Willie Whitefold, says, Peter Beasley up against Gale at the back. Be careful. Use his elbows a bit, and he's a tough guy. He went to Glen Road up against John Fastenal, who uses his elbows. Be careful. He's solid. And he just looked at me and he went, Gazza, good luck. And I went, what do you mean, good luck? When he played against a guy called Vinnie Jones, he said, I don't know how he can play, but I've heard he's a hard case. And I says, well, I recognise him. He says, I think so. And the man would come out the dressing room and I'm walking down the tunnel and I just see this guy with muscles, Jesus Christ, and the veins in his neck and his skinhead. I went, that's got to be him. And I tell people, I'll seriously want to go back in the dressing room and say, Gaffer, I really don't feel too well today. So I went over to him and I just went, hi, Vinny. And he went, mean, you fat bastard. And I just shit myself. I went, oh, fuck, 90 minutes of this. And I always say, I tell people, when I went on the pitch, like they say, there's 88 minutes and you ask the referee how long to go, and he say a couple of minutes. I asked the referee after 2 minutes how long to go. Mm-hmm. And he just looked and smiled and went, 88 minutes. And I went, oof. And it just he followed us everywhere, he just wouldn't let us go. And he was like, just fucking, come on, man, you fat bastard, just all through the game. And he was screaming loud, and the fans could hear him shouting at us and all that. It was quite embarrassing. I managed to put the ball through his legs once, though.
Seen it? I've seen the video.
Yeah. But yeah, and then afterwards, I become friends with him. When I signed for Tottenham, I actually become friends. He was the first one to turn up at the hotel. And I remember sitting in my room, and the phone went, and the receptionist says, I've got a guy here to see you. I says, oh, it's okay, who is it? They went, Vinnie Jones. I went, oh shit, tell him I'm not here. And they went, no, he's just waiting for you. So I went down and become good friends then, and...
he still speaks very highly of you?
Yeah, Vinnie. Bless him with his Tanya, she was a great woman. But yeah, he's always been supportive, Vinnie.
Yeah.
He's doing well now. He has another drink for about 7 years.
Yeah, good man.
Yeah.
What about, so when you were obviously the young kid from Newcastle eating your minstrels and chips to then getting shot into superstardom, because everybody at that time in England was speaking about you as the next hot prospect. How was that mentally for you?
It was okay then. Well, it was typical in my hometown because I couldn't go anywhere. At 18 and that, and all the lads, I used to go out with the lads and that. And when I was playing at Newcastle, I'd go to nightclub and I got pestered a lot. The fans were brilliant towards us and that. I got pestered all the time, non-stop. I remember giving a sponsored car. The garage gives a sponsored car, put my name all over it and put the number of the garage on the side of the car. And everyone was ringing up the garage to say, Gazza's just crashed the car, Gazza's the car crash. And they used to ring us up and say, you in the car crash? No, man. So I eventually had to give them the car back. And it was just, when I got wind, I really wanted it, because we'd sell Chris Waddle, I was a bit gutted of that. And then I I remember I pretended I was my own agent and wanted to try and sign for West Ham years when I was 19 or something. And then it was this Jack John, I think I was 19, and he said, I've got a contract for it to sign. I said, well, I need to think about it. He said, no, you sign it. So I shit myself and I signed a 4-year contract. So I thought, I'm here for 4 years. And then they said Peter Beasley, and I just remember saying to my dad, I'm never going to go anywhere. We still two good players, great world-class players to be fair. And he said, just keep on playing. And the first one was a call from, was it Kenny Dalglish. I remember looking at my dad and going, Dad, Kenny Dalglish on the phone. He said, talk to him then. And I spoke to Kenny Dalglish for half an hour. And my dad said, what did he say? I went, Dad, I didn't understand a fucking word he said. So that deal was out of it. Yeah. And then a couple of days later, I was Sir Alex Ferguson, and he wanted to sign us and that. And he says, I'll go on a holiday. He definitely signed, and I thought, Dad, Man United. I remember that full day, I was so excited. I'm fucking joining Man United. I'm going to go. Newcastle wanted 2.2 million for us. Liverpool weren't going to pay 2 million anyway. And Fergie says, well, I'm going on holiday, so when I get back on holiday, will you be at Old Trafford? I said, yeah, definitely. So I put the phone down, and I'm saying, Dad, fucking Man United, I'm going to be playing Brian Robson and all them top-class players. He said, wow. He says, good lad. And then I think the next day the phone went, and it was Irvin Scholar. And he says, won't you sign for Tottenham? I says, oh. And I thought, Tottenham, Man United's team. And I said, nah, I'm going to sign for Man United. He says, well, we'll buy your parents a house for 120 grand. And I went, hold on. And I looked at my dad, I went, Dad, they're going to buy your mum a house for 120 grand. And my dad went, well, what the fuck are you waiting for then, son? And I went, okay, it looks like I'm going to sign for Tottenham. And then my sister wanted a sunbed. But then when I went to Tottenham, I mean, when I spoke to Terry Venables, he says, look, you sign for me and I'll have you playing for England within 10 games. And I always wanted to play for my country. And I did it in 80 games, but he was brilliant, you know. Terry Venables knew when to... He was clever, because if I was having a good game, he'd tell us I was playing crap. Mm-hmm. So, like, up my game even better, you know.
How do you think, looking back now, is there any regret from joining Tottenham or not, Man U?
Well, that season, I think the season we won the FA Cup final, obviously it only lasted 12 minutes, but and we finished higher than Man United. It was only till the season after when brought on like Scholes and Becks and Giggs and Neville's, all them come through, you know, and they were an unbelievable team. But we beat them a couple of times. We drew away and beat them at home. I remember I scored at home against them. But yeah, when you look back and that, you think, oh, I wonder if things would have been different. Because I thought, get to London and I'll be all right, you know, big London, big massive place, lots of famous people. So I wouldn't get bothered as much.
Well, you always want out in Newcastle, Paul?
No, really, just because I sell Peter Beasley and Chris Waddle. And if you want to be a great player, you want to play with the best. Mm-hmm. And I got the home that to sell them, you know. And I just thought, well, we're not going to go places. And we nearly got relegated that season. I think I scored a few goals at the end of the season to keep me up. And then I just thought, if I go to London, there's loads of famous people there, so I won't get pestered as much, which ended up being worse. You know, the press were all over us. And I remember coming back from the World Cup, it was just mayhem. So I didn't find it any better than I was being in Newcastle. But I loved it there. We had a great bunch of lads.
Lineker.
Great team spirit. Lineker, St. Paul Stewart was playing brilliant for Man City. You know, you had Paul Allen. Yeah, we had a good team, you know.
How was it scoring that goal, Paul, in the FA Cup semi-final?
Well, I played, it was the quarter-finals, and in training I did my hernia. And I went to Terry Venables. I've done my hernia. That was on Friday, just training. I went, I can't play tomorrow. He says, you've got to play. I says, I can't. He says, just get through the game. So I went, okay then. So I went in the warm-up, and I did the other side. So I did double hernia. I couldn't even walk. So I went to the dressing room, I says, Gaffer, can I play? You know, it was just no place. He says, I need you to play. So he went and got the doctor, and the doctor gave us 8 injections in my stomach and my thighs and numbed all the side of us. And I gave the first goal away, and then I set up the one to equalise, and then I scored the winner. And it was like 10 minutes ago, and the numbness went away, and I just stood off air line because we used the subs up. And I said to Terry Venables, I need the operation. He went, you can't, we're playing. So he had a word with the doctor. He says, how long does a double hernia up take? And he said, 6 weeks. And we were playing Arsenal within 4 weeks. And I says, I'll do it for you. I'll make it for you, man. Just need this operation. So I went to the hospital and did the operation. And I always remember when I come out the operation, the sedation, there was a nurse there saying, give us 10. I went, 10 what? She went, sit-ups. You've got to do sit-ups already. So I was doing sit-ups straight away. And I managed to make it. And then I just heard, I think I was watching Tottenham Hotspur reserves play at Luton, and one of the Arsenal coaches was there. And I don't think he really knew. He was just talking away, and he says, are you going to make the semi-final? I said, nah. I just said no, to him. And he went, oh, we've got our suits ready. So that was my G up for the lads. I went, lads, these bastards have got the fucking suits ready for the semi-final, for the final. So obviously the free kick come, and I remember looking at this, how far away it is, and I thought, oh, I don't know about hitting it from me. And then Gary Lineker could run past us. He went, hit it. I went, I'm going to then. And yeah, I caught the belter. As I always say, Dave Seaman was a daft shite trying to see it. He made himself look like a nugget, But yeah, it was the celebrations afterwards, and not that, but just on the bus, because we went back to watch the other semi-final at White Hart Lane, and on the bus going back, we were just buzzing. It was an unbelievable feeling, like I'm going to be playing in the FA Cup final, because that was my dream. When I was growing up, my dream wasn't to play in the World Cup. It was always to walk up them steps at Wembley. That was my dream as a footballer, because I used to watch the FA Cup with the run-ups to it, and then the cup final, everyone on the bus and that. I always wanted to play in the FA Cup final, and to miss walking up them steps was devastating. I mean, in the hospital, I was just crying my eyes out. I was gutted. Then at the celebration, I wanted to go, and he wouldn't let us go and join the celebration. I said, just plus me up, let's go. But he said, no. And then obviously got the operation done. And then obviously that was me move to Lazio, which was, had to wait another year,
But you were still young, Paul. Even how, looking back now, that managers telling you with a double hernia to still play instead of being a kid and taking off and wrapping you in cotton wool, do you feel as if you were getting used a bit then?
Yeah, I wanted to play in that and double hernia, and he was saying, no, you'll be all right, fuck, I couldn't even walk.
A double fucking hernia?
Fucking couldn't walk, man. Yeah. But nowadays, a lot of the players are getting well looked after, on and off the pitch, more so than anything else. I knew a therapist that come to Everton once. He used to be my counsellor, and we used to have one-on-one chats with him, and he was really helpful. And I said, did you speak to anybody else in the dressing room? You wouldn't think so. And he said, yeah, about 8 players. So obviously, a lot of players had problems. He didn't say who, or because confidential, but yeah, nowadays, a lot of players are like, I think one Spurs guy, it's brilliant. Well, he was a big guy, he was solid as anything, he was about 6'3". And I went, are you the fitness coach? He went, no, I work for the club. And I said, what do you mean you work for the club? And he said, if any of the players, wives need shopping and I've got to look after the kid, I'd go do the shopping for them. So everything's done for them. Whether that works for you or against, it wouldn't have worked for me. I like to be busy all the time and like to stand on my own 2 feet,
How was your sleeping back then, Paul? 'Cause I know you struggled
Terrible.
with sleep.
Yeah, still now, I think it was all because I used to love training. I had such a laugh in training, so, I used to wake up at 4 o'clock and couldn't get back to sleep because I was so excited. I think it's just stayed on now, I try and leave it as late as possible. Even if I went to bed at 1 o'clock, I still wake up 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. I'm terrible. And it's just stuck with us all the time,
Was training, football, just going to see the boys and working hard, was that your therapy, just to take away from your method of thinking kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. Some of the stuff, you tell everyone what you got up to the weekends and had a laugh and that. Trevor Stephen was funny. I remember once he said, I'm putting something in the boot, and in his boot, he had a suit and then a pair of jeans on the top and then a different outfit. I said, why you got all these outfits? He said, just say, well, I'm going to go today. So I've always got something ready. If I'm ever going to have a dinner, so he was always prepared, him. Football nowadays is completely different. I think it's got a lot to do with the foreigners coming in. They call it the English Premiership. It's not the English Premiership, it's a foreign Premiership. Yeah. You see some teams, top teams playing against each other, they've got 2 Englishmen in the team, which is a shame for our young kids coming through. I think it was a pitch I seen about 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, about 5 years ago. It was so funny. I think it might have been Colchester. You got Vardy and Gareth Bale on the bench for his team like Colchester. So, they did well to make it through. Mm-hmm. You've got some great young kids, talented, which probably never ever get a chance.
Yeah. What was Gary Lineker like playing with at Tottenham?
Yeah, he was funny. He was funny, for someone, because we signed him, and I said to Terry Venables, what's he like? He says he's lethal. So I went, okay, no problem. And he hadn't scored for a few games, and I said to Terry Venables, I says, he said he was good. He says, he's crap. He went, give him time. And he scored 4 goals that game, in Norwich it was, and he ended up scoring 38 goals. But what a player I am, and I had to work out how he played so I could hit him every time, the passes, and that went on to when we played for England as well. He used to do a little movement with his fingers, saying that means he was spinning off. Or if he did that with his thumb, you see it over the top, I knew he was coming short, And he worked hard. He worked hard for the team. Oh, I'm so pleased he got the yellow card, because he would have went through his career without getting it. But we used to go but if we ever had a day off, say it was Tuesday and the gaffer gave a Wednesday off, I right then. And I knew where I lived, St John's Wood. And after training, I just get ready quickly, get in my car, fly to his house and put my car in his car park space and shoot off out into London and stay the night. He couldn't park his car up. So he used to leave it outside and get a ticket. You get a ticket all the time. And it was just one day, Terry Venables called us in. He says, you got to stop that. Fucking then I was going fuming. You keep parking your car outside his door. I said, okay, no problem. Yeah, links. Yeah, it was, it's funny because in training we used to do shooting practice. He never did it. He just used to go in. He wouldn't do any shooting practice.
Why is that?
Don't know. He just said he didn't want to take away for doing all that for when he played on the Saturday. All he ever did was put the ball down, do one penalty, and then just go in, But yeah, lethal it was. I remember when we signed him, I quite fancied him. He didn't got a hair on his body, and I remember I said, you're like a fucking ladyboy. he just laughed. Yeah.
He loves you to bits. When you hear Lineker or McCoy, Star Wayne Rooney speaking about you, it's like they glow up. They become alive when they mention your name.
Did have some laughs with him. Sometimes training was hard, and I just thought, well, I don't want to. I love training as well. I mean, I think I trained really, really hard for the team, and even when I played, but I just loved training. When I was Everton, I heard that the ground staff played head tennis at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. So I used to get up at 7 o'clock and challenge them. They used to beat me with wellies on, and then I'd play with them for about an hour and a bit, and then I'd train, and then I'd stay behind till about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon playing head tennis with the ground staff. I used to love it, and then just head back home. I did that every day. Yeah, I just loved it, It was a great feeling being fit, happy and fit. And not. I remember when I used to play for the first team, Emden, I used to go and watch the youth team play first at 12 o'clock kick-off. And Colin Harvey was the manager. And there was Everton under 19s. And I was up in his office, and he says, Gazza, what's this kid? And I says, how old is he? He went 14. I said, what's his name? He said, Wayne Rooney. I said, he's under 19s, he's only 14. He went, yeah, put him on in a minute. I think it was 20 minutes ago, and I put him on. Fucking hell, he scored 2 goals, it was incredible. So afterwards, I went in the dressing room, and all the players were sitting there. I went, right, guys, well done. I said, I enjoyed watching that. I said, anyway, I've got 40 quid. Is anyone going out tonight for a pint? I'll give you it. And Wayne Rooney put his hand up. He's only 14. Yeah. I said, he's got potential, him. Mm-hmm. If he follows me, drinking booze, he's got potential.
What a player
he still owes it. Yeah, and he's an unbelievable player, He didn't look out of place. He trained with the first team at 14, 15. He did not look out of place.
He says you asked for the £40 back.
Yeah, I keep asking for it back. Interest now, it's about £1 million. But yeah, what a player he's went on to be, He was fearless.
Superstar.
Yeah, fearless. Some of the goals he scored is just incredible.
But you think you had that same kind of nature, you and Wayne Rooney?
Yeah,
strong
definitely.
And just running through people.
Yeah.
He ended up Man U and England's leading top goal scorer, which is a phenomenal achievement.
Full of confidence. Hope he does well as a manager. He's young, just starting out, and I think he started as a good team, Derby. He gets some great experience from that as well. But what a player! Some of them goals he scored is just not normal.
His first goal for Everton, I think, against Arsenal.
Yeah, incredible.
16.
Just another bar.
Yeah, good on him.
Yeah, 16.
What was it like, Paul, getting your first call up for England?
Brilliant. I mean, it was. Where was it? It was Terry Venables, and he pulled us in the office. I've got some news for you. And I went, what? You're not making. Obviously, you're not making the under-21s England squad. And I just went, oh shit, never mind. He went, but you made the full squad. And I lit up, I have lumps in my throat when I talk about it. And I just remember going there, and then I went downstairs. He must have told all the players. all the players gives an applause and shook me hand and that. And then I was excited. And then I think it was sub for Denmark with Tony Cottee. And we both got on 5 minutes or something. And then the next game was Albania. And he gave us 20 minutes and he went, give us a goal. And I smiled at Bobby Robson. And that's when I scored, you know. The feelings going for your country and the crowd erupted. It was fantastic. I just remember Sir Bobby's interview afterwards. He says, we need 2 balls. He actually said in the dressing room, right, guys, sit down and listen. We need 2 balls, one for you and one for him there. And he just pointed at us and I just started laughing. And he went, get off the Mars balls as well. Yeah, I remember he told us to get off the Mars balls. I said, I will do. And then I just felt, I was lucky because you look at the young players when they join the squad, all the rest of the players are young as well, like, you know, but when I played for England, 22 and a bit, I was lucky because I had every player coming in the prime. So you had Shilton, you had Stuart Pearce, you had Terry Butcher, Mark Wright, you know, you had Gary Stevens, and you had Chris Wall, John Barnes, Brian Robson, Peter Beasley, and Lineker. I mean, that's some team to join, you know. So I just felt, well, I'm just going to enjoy this. And I remember the first time with Brian Robson, he said, Gazza, listen, any of the challenges, leave it for me. He says, I'll do the challenges you can't tackle. He says, I'm coming to the end of my career, and I'll take the knocks for you. And he says, any of the balls, I'll take the stitches. And for someone like him, he didn't have to say that, you know, and I just fell in love with him. I mean, he's my idol, Brian Robson. I love him. What a player. I call him dog shit, because when he played, he was fucking everywhere, man. Everywhere. Yeah, I hated playing against him. I just knew I was up. But I was lucky because he never smashes in a tackle. Mm-hmm. He'd always be all right with it because he could tackle, you know. But for someone to come back from 3 broken legs and still be the player he was, incredible. And his broken collarbone.
Did you have many people try to protect you then, Paul? Then take you under their
wing? I was
wing?
lucky. I mean,
was your head screwed on it, 21, 22?
Yeah, I was full of confidence, but at Tottenham, in Newcastle, I had David McCready, who was at Manchester United at one time, so he did all my graft, really, and just when he won the ball, give it to me. Then I was at Tottenham, I had Paul Allen, and then I had Stuart McCall, so I always had someone solid in midfield with us. I remember the gaffer, it was brilliant, he said, Paul Allen, he says, you do his graft, and when you win it, give it to Gazza, and Gazza go for it. If you lose it, Paul, make sure you're there to pick it up and give him the ball. And Paul Allen went, okay, no problem. And went outside, and Ollie went, I'm a fuck. He says, I'm not doing all the work for you. I just started laughing. I said, that's okay, I'll help you out, man. Yeah, so I always had someone good and a hard grafter next to us, you know, which gave me the freedom to get playing, like, you know. The
1990 World Cup, Paul, were you getting in that frame of mind that you were going to win it from the get-go?
We were fortunate. I mean, when I say fortunate, we went there, great morale. The team, the squad we had, everyone was brilliant. You know, even the players that never got picked to play, they were fantastic. And the good thing I think it was with us is Bobby Robson didn't ever watch anything that was going on back home, wouldn't ever read newspapers, just solely concentrated on the football, you know. Apart from when the Waves come over the semi-final, which I wasn't too happy about because we always end up getting beaten semis, but our team spirit was fantastic. We had such a laugh as well, you know. When we were given a day off, we made the most of it, you know. And then when we trained, we put our minds to it. And Sir Bobby was brilliant. I remember once when we played Germany, we had a team sheet up, and then I put the team sheet over and put the war, right? Germany, the war, and put the sheet back down. And so we're sitting there, we're waiting for Sir Bobby Robson to come in. He says, right, guys, Germany, can you remember the war? And we just start laughing our heads up. What he's laughing at? And then I went and lifted it up and he just shook his head, you know. But for me, it was like when he used to do the team, when we used to say, right, then say, for instance, right, we're playing Belgium. We want you watch Belgium against this other team for half an hour, see how they play. And I'm watching it for 5 minutes and I'm not giving a shit. So a Belgian player passed it to another player on the TV watching, and I went, And when it broke down, I went, And then all of a sudden, Steve McMahon joined in. And then John Barnes joined in. And there was about 6 were doing it. And Bobby Robson went fucking ballistic. He went, yeah, you'll be giving it, no, but when you get beat, you'll be going, boo, hoo, hoo. He was just cracked up. I just never took notice. I wasn't bothered about the player I was playing against. I just knew in my own ability, you know, that I could do the business when I got out there, you know. Mm-hmm. I loved the World Cup. I took it about, you know, when I was at Reggie Boys Club, when I was young at 7, I took it the World Cup as if I was back at the boys' club, and I was playing table tennis. I was doing daft things. I was playing tennis. I was on pedal boats. I sliding out cocktail was the best. I said, I need a drink. Go have a drink. And there was a beach hut on the beach, and there was no one about. So I went, so one of the guys gives a pina colada. And he went, okay, and he gives a nice pina colada, and I'm sitting there, and I went, oh God, I'm in the World Cup, the sun on the beach, drinking a pina colada, fucking life. And I just said, Gazza. And I went, oh, fuck. And I said, Bobby Robson. And he went, what you got there? So I panicked. And I went, oh, I've got milkshake, Gaffer. He went, give us a taste of that. I went, shit. So he had a taste, he went, oh. So he said to the guy, can I have one of them? And I went behind, said Bobby, I looked at the guy, went, shit myself. So the guy, looking up the guy cotton done, and he gave Bobby Robson just a normal silky. So he drank his a little bit with a straw, and he went, no, because it tastes yours. And he tasted mine. I thought, he's got me, he's going to send us back home. He had a taste of his, and then he said to the guy, he went, no, this is not the fucking same. And the guy says, what do you mean? He says, where's my umbrella and the cherry and the sword? Oh, get in. I thought, brilliant. He shot off and I had another 8 and just fell asleep on the beach.
Were you not playing tennis before the night before the semi-final as well?
The semi-final, I just roomed with Chris Waddle. And I said to Chris, I can't sleep. I said, God, it was like 10:30 at night. So I went for a walk and I heard somebody playing tennis. And there was 2 Americans. And I just went in the court. I said, can I challenge this? And when, where's your partner? I said, no, take the 2s on. And I was playing for about 20 minutes. I was sweating me nuts off trying to beat them. And I just heard, Gazza. And I went, oh, shit. And he come into the tennis court. He walked past me, so I dropped the racket and ran like fuck to my room. And I could hear him shouting to the Americans, do you not know who he is? He's got the most important game in his life tomorrow, and you're playing backing tennis with him. So I ran the room, and I went to Chris, if anyone knocks on the door, just tell them I'm sleeping, I'm tired. He went, yeah, no problem, Gazza. Fucking hell, the door. He was going to get broken in, man. Smashed. Chris went, who is it? He went to Gaffer. Where is he? He's sleeping. And he went, sleeping? He's been playing tennis for fucking half an hour. And Chris looked at me, he went, have you? And I went, fell asleep. And then a letter just come through the door underneath, and I've had a look at it, and he said, I'll see you in tomorrow morning. So the next day, I was like hiding from him, because I didn't want to know if I'm going to play or drop it, or he's going to drop us. And I was hiding. And then he just come round the corner. I always remember it was about 11, tapped us on the shoulder. And he went, forget about last night. I've already called it after the brush. Last night wasn't normal. He says, but neither are you. He says, today you're playing against the best player in the world, Luther Matthias. And I looked at the gaffer and I went, I'm sorry, gaffer, but he is. And I walked off. And he went, come back. And I just kept on walking. And then I looked behind, he had his head to the ground, just shaking his head like that, saying, God, what am I going to do with him? But that was one of my best games for England. I know I got booked and that. The tears were more because I had such a great time, 6 weeks, you know, just training and playing football away from the media, you know, just knowing the next morning I was training and a game coming up. Our fans were fantastic, and it was more like I honestly thought that my career had come to an end then. You know, I felt like I didn't want to play anymore. I felt devastated, the yellow card, obviously missing the final. But the last 20 minutes I gave me all, like, you know, for the players. So sad in the dressing room afterwards. Seeing the players and that, but then Bobby Robson picked us all up. I remember going back to the hotel and we all celebrating, having a drink, and we decided to pick up Sir Bobby Robson and throw him in the swimming pool because we had a drink so much. We threw him up in the air and he come back down in the water, but the back of his head hit the back the dime board. I said, "Fucking, we killed him." Yeah, but yeah, I was coming back, and it was a great feeling. It was a bit of a shock for me coming back. Didn't realise that, you know, because, like I said, during that World Cup, we never got to see anything. We didn't know what was going on at home. Weren't allowed to call the families after a game. Weren't allowed. But I used to take my mobile into the shower and ring my dad. What do you think? Well played, son. Keep it up. Right, see you later. I've got to go. But we did not have a clue what was going on. I think some of the other lads that played in other World Cups had a rough idea, but I didn't.
Do you think that helped you, though? Because English media are quite ruthless towards the English team and English players.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, now and again, I remember walking to the beach, and that's when the waves come over. And I was walking with Bobby Robson, and the waves were ahead of it and that. And he says, you're doing well, son. Are you enjoying the World Cup yet? And then the next day, some photographer took a picture from behind, and said Bobby Robson can't take his eyes off the women's horses. And he went off it. He always pulls to me, he said, Gazza, come here. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? I was walking with you. They're saying I'm looking at the girls' backsides. That's not me, is it? And I just shook my head and laughed. Mm-hmm. And then and there was another bit. It was Tony DeRigo. And his wife was lovely. And I remember talking to her, and the press took a photo, and they put it in the front page of the papers. Gazza's new blonde. I fucking hammered Tony DeRigo. It was his wife. And it said Gazza's new blonde. And we ripped the piss out of him. And he couldn't handle that. He just stormed off to his dressing room, to his bedroom, like, you know. And I just knocked on his door and that. But yeah, that was the only couple of times. But yeah, I think it helped us a hell of a lot.
Yeah. Looking back in the semi-final, Paul, do you wish you would have took a penalty?
Yeah, I mean, mine was just all over the place, you know. I just couldn't think, and I was already down there, I got booked, and I was going to miss the final. But I was confident enough with the lads, like, you know, to take the penalties. But I couldn't believe it. Even the referee says if he knew I had been booked in the first game, they've already had a yellow card, he wouldn't have booked us. But I still feel I didn't touch the guy with that challenge, you know. And I look back, it's hard to take it. It's hard to watch some of the games. Well, not the games at semi-final night, getting booked and that. But yeah, sometimes I wish I had took a penalty now when you look at it.
Do you think you would have won the World Cup if you got through?
Well, we're unlucky because 2 minutes ago, Chris Waddle hit the post as well, like, you know. But I always say on stage, Chris laughs. I say, you know, when we got back in the aeroplane, we arrived at Luton. I says, that's where Chris Waddle's penalty fucking ended. In Luton.
That was a terrible penalty, man.
Fucking hell, he went for I thought he would have placed it, like Stuart Pearce. I thought he might have placed it, but he just went for... Both of them went for power, you know.
Nerves, though, eh? Yeah. Big stage. A lot of pressure.
I just felt with Shilton, I think, when I look back at it, I mean, we had Dave Besson, 6'6". I think with 2 minutes to go, we should have put him in goal for the penalties. Because when you're up against someone as big as that, you know, I think he made a good one, because I felt like, I think some of the players did as well. When the penalty was taken, Schultz waited a little bit and then went for it instead of taking a gamble, you know. Yeah. But yeah, I was gutted because we're so close. So it looks like Jeff Hurst is still making money off his hat-trick for winning the World Cup.
How was it, Paul? Because that was you made it, and you were already getting a lot of press, but you made it into superstardom because you won BBC Personality of the Year as well, and everybody in the world then knew who Gazza was.
Yeah, I mean,
how did that affect you, Paul?
Come back, no, it was okay. I mean, coming back, and then seeing all the fans and that, and then I was like, I'd be on TV just talking. I'd say, I think I might just take guitar lessons, and I wake up in the morning, there'd be 2 guitars outside me the front door, or like I was given, we thought the best dressed man in the country, and there was like dicky bow ties and suits outside my door, and I was given clothes, and you know, I was on TV programs, and I remember the press saying he's doing too much, he's not concentrating on his football. And I went out that was on the Friday. I went out and scored a hat-trick past Peter Shilton on the Saturday. But sometimes it was okay, sometimes it was scary. I just felt like I couldn't go anywhere. I felt trapped indoors. I mean, the public were fantastic towards us, but just wherever I went, you know. And then obviously then the press started. And that's when I found it really hard, because the amount of lies they had on us was just horrific, you know. I was just constantly telling lies, and I felt like I had to defend myself all the time. So with football-wise, that was my outcome. I knew on a Saturday for 90 minutes I was free on that pitch. And, you know, even I used to be hanging around outside the training grounds and stuff like that. So I knew for 90 minutes I'd be free, and that's when I used to really enjoy it, you know. And then obviously after the 90 minutes, since I left the football ground, then they were onto us, you know. So the followers everywhere. It was murder. Sometimes I'd be in London and I'd see a couple of cars and a motorbike behind us, and I'd have to ring up the police, pull over, police come up, block them in and make me drive off. And then obviously there was the phone hacking. But yeah, but I reckon I could have handled it a bit better than I did, because sometimes I did go over the top and drink too much. But I always performed on the Saturday, like, you know.
Were you drinking heavy back then, Paul?
No, not really. I think I'll drink on a Sunday, maybe on a Monday, you know, Tuesday just down the local pub. But like on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I never, you know, I always thought of the football first. You know, I never wanted to let the lads down. It was just mainly when I left football, when I quit football.
Yeah. Is that one of the reasons why you wanted to go abroad? Is because to try and get away from the media?
Yeah, I thought if I go to Italy, it'll be all right. I get away from everything. God almighty, I mean, 10,000 people at the airport. That was scary.
They don't fuck about, Italian fans.
And I was at the airport, and I was with my dad, and I'm like, wow, Dad, Jesus Christ. And then Johnny Ziggy and Augusto picked us up in the car. It was bulletproof. And it was funny, I was sitting in the back with my dad, and I'm saying, fucking hell, Dad, these are two big bastards. And he says, yeah, the big fuck, I thought the son. And I says, well, I wonder what they're like and that. And then we got out of the car, and the two of them spoke perfect English. I went, oh shit, Dad, I've understood what was said. So the first night, I went into the room, I had these two bodyguards in a connected room next to us. And Dad was in his room, and I'm in my room. I said, Dad, I'm just coming along to see you. And I opened the door, and there's a guy outside my door with a gun in the chest. I went, oh shit, and I shut the door. I went, Dad, you come to me, there's a guy outside. And I heard my dad open the door, and I heard him slam it straight away. He went, there's a fucking guy outside my door with a gun. So I went, okay then. So eventually met up, and we had a couple of drinks down at the bottom. I had 22 bodyguards. They were sitting in trees and everything. And at night time, I had this habit where I used to go to the toilet, and I used to touch the door a couple of times, door handle. And I went to the toilet in the dark, it was 2 o'clock. And I touched the door handle, next thing I know, I've got someone with a hand around my neck with a gun to me head. I went, whoa, 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 put the light on, it's Gazza. And it was Augusto, he thought it was somebody else breaking in to get us. I'm fucking, I shit myself. And then it was the next day, and I says, right, don't wear suits, just wear casual gear. I didn't want to bring all the attention and that. So they just wore casual stuff and that, and just become really good friends with them. I learned my Italian from them, you know, and I started to enjoy it. It took us about 3 to 6 months to get used to the train. The training was rock hard. Wow, it was solid. But then I started to get fit and started to enjoy my football until obviously I broke my fibula and tibia, which was a bit of a nightmare, especially after I just come back after the ligaments in my kneecap. But I got through that, and I just thought to myself, well, how long am I going to be out? And it said about 9 months to a year. So I just, waited till I could start training on it, and just went mad training, really, doing.
How hard was it, Paul? I know you says playing football was your freedom, your getaway. You felt as if the shackles were off. How hard was that then when you were 9 months on the sidelines? How did you deal with that?
Nightmare. It was a nightmare. I mean, I couldn't do anything for 3 months, so I used to just sit on the settee. I was not the best of sunbathing, so I used to just sit on the settee and just have drink more than I should have done, really. Just used to drink just past the days ahead. And then when he gave us and then we had a coach called Zemin. So in England, after a year of getting fit, you start playing. In Italy, it took us about 9-10 months to get fit to start playing again, and he made us train for 6 months before playing us. And that was like hard work, that training and that. And eventually I had enough, and I just said, look, I want to stop playing. So I started playing, and I think once I got the first tackle out of the way, then I felt okay, And I started enjoying my football. I started scoring goals against Milan, and scored some great goals.
Yeah, I know it was tough over for you as well, because I think it was your PR, your manager, was following you about for 2 years while doing that. She was writing a book and fucked you over.
Yeah, Jane Nottage, yeah, terrible. She was like, could she speak Italian? And they hired her to work for us, and not knowing that she was writing everything down, And she was getting on my nerves and that, and I said, I don't need you to work for us anymore. And obviously then she come out with the book.
Did you struggle with trust issues then, Paul, especially?
Yeah, I did.
One thing after another?
Yeah, what started, I think, more than anything, after that one, and then obviously my phone getting hacked off the news of the world, and I remember telling me, I only spoke to my family, but it was kept on coming out in the papers. And I eventually didn't speak to the family for 3 months. I said, you were speaking to the fucking papers, man. I'm only speaking to you. And then I went off the rails a little bit, and then when I found out I was getting hacked, that was a big relief. And then I started speaking to the family and apologised to them. And then it was 12 years from the Sunday Mirror, and now I'm in the case at the moment. The Sun have been hacked for 12 years, but the trust thing, yeah, when you get, because I think I'm a trustworthy person myself and a generous guy. I think everyone's the same, which is not the case. But yeah, the trust thing is a big thing with me.
Yeah, it must be difficult because the media kill people. Do you know what I mean? What they're doing, especially if you're getting your phone hacked, breaking up with your family. Your family's all you've got. That's the only people you could probably have spoke to kind of balance out the demons. But if you're become constantly paranoid and they're pushing you to the edge, that could be a big part of why you wanted to drink as well, because you probably thought you never had anyone.
Well, the sleeping got terrible. Couldn't hardly sleep, and I just thought the drink would help to sleep. And then obviously that progressed and got worse, and then obviously time in the treatment centre for 21 days, which was okay. I remember Brian Robson, when I first went on. I was supposed to be in 28 days, and I went after 3 weeks. I said, Robbo, get me out of here, gaffer. Honestly, I'll be all right. I don't want to drink again. Swear, get me out of here. She says, I'll come and see you then. And Brian also went to see the councillor. It was funny. He come back out. He said to me, he says, fuck me. He says, I think I need to be here as well. And I just started laughing. But then I got back playing with Middlesbrough and got promotion, and things started looking up again. And then I got the phone hacking, and I was just, it was just off and on. I didn't want to drink, but then obviously I become an alcoholic, and admitting it, I haven't been the best. I mean, I know how to I know how to stay sober, I know how to drink. I did have spells of 5 years and 4 years. Last year wasn't brilliant. Just hopefully this year I'll be a lot better,
Yeah, this year's a new year. We can only go from today and move on for the future. We've all got a past, Paul. We all fuck up.
Yeah.
Nobody's life is perfect. Like, people can always say things and there's always going to be outside noise, but everybody's got demons, everybody's got issues, and people can understand that the trauma you've been through from a young age, the trust issues, it's fucking difficult. But when you talk about being free on the park, and the why you're so loved is because your vulnerability on the park, because your greatness. And did you know how good you were?
Yeah, I mean, it never bothered us. I just knew. I mean, some of the things I used to do on a pitch, I didn't know I did them. And it was only till afterwards I'd watch myself and think, I wonder how I did that. And I'd look and I'd think, fucking hell, that's not normal, Like, I look at midfield players today, and a lot of them are crab footballers. All they do is just go sideways all the time. I mean, nowadays, if you watch football, I think the goalkeeper has more touches than anybody else on the field now. You never see a player, a midfield player, have a look up and turn and get at them, It's always like passing, and it's a lot of that just passing now. You never see anyone. I mean, Tony Grealish looks all right, he's doing well. I like the guy plays for Leicester midfield, can't remember his name now, I just watched him last night as well. He's Madison, he's a good player. Tottenham, he's having a bit of trouble with Jose Mourinho, Del Ali, whatever his name is. He seems a decent player, I reckon he's a bit cocky, but there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, when I played some of the stuff I used to just do, I just did it off the cuff, I used to look, before the ball come, I used to have a look around the pitch and know exactly where every player was. I knew whether I hit them first time or I'd take a touch and then go for it. So, yeah, and then I would only be like, afterwards I'd watch and I'd think, how did I do that? And I'd look, like sometimes I'd like, I'd say like sometimes my ex-mate, Jimmy, I'd just say, how do you think I did? He said, look on the table. I didn't realise I like 3 man a match awards. I went, I must have done all right. And I remember Wallace Smith was the best, because he always had control of his players. And he sent us for 2 fucking head scans. And why? He says, you fucking got a head scan. And I used to panic going in that thing, man, in that machine. And I had the second head scan. And then 3 days later, I waited for the results. And he said, I want to work with you. Fuck me, he took us up to his dressing room, into his room. He's throttled us, strangled us. He went, you bastard. I says, what's the matter? He says, you're a genius. I went, what do you mean? He says, I've been told I've just got to let you do what you want, and no fucker does that with me. He says, now I've just got to let you do what you want. And I laughed. I went, that's okay. He says, I'll just still do it on the pitch. And so I got too cocky and had a few drinks, and the next day he throttled us again.
He seemed a tough bastard.
Yeah, tough, but fair with it,
How was that, Paul, coming from Lazio when you knew it was coming to an end? Because I know Chelsea, Aston Villa, and I think the Lazio manager says Rangers is wanting, and you're like, no, I'm not going to Rangers, they're in the first division.
Yeah.
You thought it was Queen's Park Rangers?
I thought it was Queen's Park Rangers. I went, I ain't going there. And then when he said, as I walked out the door, he went, Glasgow Rangers, and I turned around. I just went, get him on the phone. Get him over, I said. So Walter, I remember Walter coming over, and he says, let me tell you about Glasgow Rangers. And I went, let me tell you what I've got in the fucking fridge. And we both had a beer, and I said, I'm signing. And he put Dave Murray on. He says, you love it, yeah, the fans will love you. And I mean, I always, when I played for Newcastle, you always got the Leesers and the Gallagher, they would sing Rangers, they would shout Celtic. And I used to have a taxi driver, and he used to always tell us you should always go for the derbies. And it was only till I went up there and played them one. I played in 11, unbeaten 11. I think I scored 3 or 4. It was fantastic. And when I arrived at the airport and then arrived at the stadium, I went up to in the chairman's office at the ground with Walter and shook his hand and that. And he says, have you seen outside? I went, no. And I looked out the window, seen all the crowd, and I went, wow. So it was a great feeling.
What was your decision to join Rangers?
I think just because you know, when you look at when you played for your country, and then when you played for your country, you know, you put the players and what teams were. When I played for England, everyone seemed to be Rangers, like Terry Butcher, Chris Woods, you know, Ray Wilkins, they're all at Rangers. So I used to, in the World Cup, I used to give Terry Butcher a stick. Fucking hell, you're playing in Scotland, Rangers, shite. And he went, don't knock till you fucking tried it. So I gave it a go, and he was right, like, you know.
You seem to play your best football up at Rangers.
Yeah, I loved it. You know, I was fearless, you know. I remember the press saying I wasn't going to do well up there. I just won everything, you know. I won medals with the players, I won players' player, I won the lot, you know. And I was just really enjoying my football. I loved it. You know, I'd sometimes have the odd half a lager with the gaffer, like on a Wednesday, and that would be it. I remember once, it was on a Friday night, and I was at Cameron's house, and I thought, it was 7 or 8 o'clock night, it was on Friday, and I thought I'll have a light shandy. So I'm having the shandy, and I seen the gaffer walk past us, and I went, oh, fuck. And so I just thought, shit. So I left it, went to my room, and I went to the ground the next day on a Saturday, and it was like 2:10. So you got your kit on, ready for the game. And he went, come here, I want a word with you. And I went, oh, fuck me. And I walked out the dressing room, because all the players gone, So I'm like, I think that's okay. So I went in his office with him. What was that you having last night? I said, just a shandy, Gavin, nothing else. He went, oh, was it? Get back in there, take your kit off, put your fucking suit on, and get the fuck out of my club. So I just giggled. He went, I'm fucking serious, do it now. I went, oh, fuck. So I went in the dressing room, and I've taken my kit off, my number 8 shirt and that. And the players were like, what's happening? I went, I've got to go fucking home. So I put my suit on, and all the lads were giggling a bit. I went, fuck, Tony's fuming. So I'm walking out the pitch, I'm walking out the ground, and all the fucking fans are coming in. And Gazza, where you going? I don't feel well today, guys. Got to go home, I've got a stomach bug. Just fucking said that. And then I had to sit indoors for 3 days. And he says, right, you're allowed to come back to the club. I says, okay. And he says, I'll tell you when to fucking drink and not to drink. I went, okay, I'm sorry, Gaffer. And he says, give me... So funny, he went, I didn't know, he went, get me a brace on Saturday. So I went, okay then. So I went to the shop and bought a fucking brace. I didn't realise a brace is 2 goals. So I managed to score 2. I managed to score 3. In fact, it was against Motherwell. Scored a hat-trick, so that was okay. Yeah, but I had such great times up there, you know, because I love fishing, I love the hunting side of it, and, you know, we was given enough time to do all that.
Did you know how big the rivalry was between Celtic Rangers, especially when you played the flute?
Fucking hell.
When you got the death threats?
Oh. Fucking Ian Ferguson, that was. He just said, you know, if you score, do the sash. And I don't know, what's a sash? He says that, and he showed us. He says the fans that love it. When he said that, and he says the fans that love it, and I went, oh, I'll do anything for the fucking fans, me. And obviously scored against Stoke Bucharest, and I did it. So I've scored, and on the way home, I told my dad, I went, Dad, get the papers. I'm on all the fucking back pages, man. I scored, got man of the match, scored. Stoke Bucharest. I said, fucking get the back pages. You love them. Give the papers to my mum as well. So I've got up and I went to the papers, you know, the side bit where you're selling papers. I'm like, fuck me, I'm on the front page. Shit. I went, Dad, fuck me, I don't think I'm in the back pages, but I think I'm on every other fucking page. The IRA going to kill this man. And he just giggled. He said, you'll be all right. And then when I got that letter through, and I read it, and Walter read it, and I says, you think he's going to kill us? I don't think so. Fucking hell. And I said, get the police, and then the police come. And I says, have you seen this letter? Is it serious? I mean, the guy left his name, number, mobile, house address, and a lot. So he's going to kill us. And the cop went, yeah, he's going to kill you. So we went over and seen him. I waited 2 days. I stayed indoors. And I was shit myself. And the police come and I said, did you see him? I said, yeah. And I says, was he going to kill us? I went, yeah. I said, fuck me, what are you going to do about it? I went, nothing. I says, until he comes to our country. So we're not going to hang around the airport. So when I used to play, I used to look in the crowd and fucking look to see if anyone's got a gun and that. So it went on for a few months. I was shit myself. And then obviously I got a letter back from him. He says, okay, you've not done it for a while, I'll let you go now. And I could relax then. And Fergie, I went, you stupid bastard. Yeah.
But they're giving you something to check under your car for bombs?
Yeah, I'll tell you, the police come. So I say 6 o'clock. And I says, what's that? He says, check under your car for bombs. I says, what, if the car starts up? He says, yeah. And I went, fucking hell. And he says, be careful with your mail. If you open it, it could explode in your face. And I was like really fucking panicking. So I used to get my mate Jimmy. So Jimmy, go and take he drives into work. I'll just have a cigarette at the moment. And I used to wait for fucking Jimmy start the car up and see if it blew up or not. And I'd be like 300 yards away. I'd be like 300 yards away. Gazza, what are you doing? I'll just have a fag, start the fucking car up.
Did you break into McCoist's house?
Yeah, I knew he kept his kitchen window open, and I used to have a couple of pints at the grave. Coyce used to go home at about 11:30, and I used to stay till about 1ish. But I knew my house was 1.8 mile from his, so I thought I used to walk home instead of for the taxi. And then I was walking, and I thought, oh, fuck, I'm starving. So I knew he kept his back kitchen window open a little bit. So I got in and lifted the window up, and I went inside, and I started just making myself a ham sandwich. And the next thing I just see the light on behind us with fucking Coyce with a baseball bat right behind us, and he went, oh, it's fucking you. He says, I'll see you in the morning. I went, cheers, guys, I'll see you in the morning. Climbed back up the window and fucking walked over the sandwich. That was hilarious, that. I mean, fucking hell, good job he didn't whack us with that stick. Yeah, club, because he said he heard somebody downstairs and I was just making me savage. Fucking thought it was in my own house.
And you bust into the dressing room, but you had 2 fish. I think you and McCoist were injured.
Yeah, me and guys were injured, and I'd been fishing, and I got a couple of trout. I says, Coyce, I've got these trout. Why don't we stick it in Gordon Drew's, someone's car? He went, I've got Gordon Drew's keys. And I was there, we're all given sponsored cars, like Dave Murray gave everyone a car with 17 grand or something. And so I put one in the boot, and Coyce went, he's going to notice that. I went, I know that, that's all right. And I went inside his car and just squeezed it under the seat, right under the seat, so he'd never find it. And then Gordon Drew must have smelled the trout in the boot. And he come in the dressing room with the trout. He went, Gazza, you'll never catch me out. I went, yeah, you got me there, mate. But fucking 2 weeks later, he went, Gazza, I'm not being funny, but there's a fucking another fish. And I went, no, there isn't. And then I eventually seen it. I had to get it out. It was fucking stinking in his car. And he tried to sell it. He couldn't sell the car. So he went to David Murray and had to buy him a new fucking car. So that trout cost us about 17 grand or something. So I was gutted, but yeah, I had some laughs with it.
Why do you think you played so well at Rangers? Because I know Durante, I've met him a few times, and Coyce there. Do you think it's because they're kind of the same nature as yourself, like kind of up for a laugh and up for a noise up?
I mean, I thought I was quite funny in dressing room with Durante and Coyce. I was up against it, you know. Remember, I'll get my teeth done, and I had temporary ones in first, and I was like, it hit me bottom lip, and Coyce went, fucking hell, guys, I don't think you need an apple through a letterbox. I was pissing myself, and anyway, you wouldn't told everyone, and then I'd be playing on the Saturday, and then the front page is Gazza plays well with these new teeth, and I fucking got hammered. But yeah, I just think the morale in there, you know, and I was fortunate because I joined Rangers when we had 18 internationals, you know. That's incredible. Loud up, Coyce, all of them, you know. Just felt sorry for Durante because I played against him for England under 21s against Scotland. And I remember the papers saying Gazza against Durante, and fucking he pissed on us. What a player he was.
Yeah, world class.
I thought, wow, that kid's an unbelievable player. Yeah, it's a shame, a bad tackle. But he, you know, for him, someone like that, morale in the dressing room was brilliant, you know.
How was it going to Euro 96 with playing for a Scottish team?
I got hammered for a few months of the players. And we're going to stick it right up, you English bastard. And I just went to them, I says, look, guys, I'm playing against 70 years, so I know how you play. You know how I play, but you don't know how I'm like when I play for my country. And to score that goal against Andy Gore was fucking brilliant. And I gave him a quick glance when I scored it. And then I turned away, and he wasn't happy. And I enjoyed the celebration. And it was all right, you know. It was like, I went on holiday, and I wasn't thinking about it. And then about 5 days ago, to the end of the holiday, I went, oh, fuck, I've got to go back to Scotland, yeah. And I started panicking a little bit. But the lads were brilliant in the dressing room. I used to get a ball in the dressing room and get a mop and pretend it was Colin Henry. And I used to flick it over the mop and then volley it past Andy Gore and then do the celebration. He wasn't happy. But yeah, the guys were brilliant, you know. The team spirit was there. I've never witnessed anything like it.
How was Walter Smith as a manager?
Brilliant. I mean, both of them bounced off each other, Archie and Walter, you know. One would give you a bollock and the other G up. Then one would give you a bollock and the other one would G up. So it worked on both favours, you know. They knew when to give you a bollocking and they knew when not to, you know. You've
played in a few derbies, Paul. You've played in the Roma derby, a few London derbies. What's that compared to the Old Firm derby? Old
Firm is like more hatred more than anything else, but and see what it means to them. You know, I think it was different. And in Roma and Lazio, like just say Roma won the league and the cup. done the double, but Lazio beat them that season in one game. It felt like Lazio won the league. Where this one, you know, they're playing for the titles, you know. This 9 in a row, to get a match of 9 in a row was great, and get that hat-trick was special. But yeah, it's more the hatred, and it's not nice for me, because I'm like from Newcastle, but seeing some of the players, what it means to them in the dressing room, wow, almighty, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, John Brown, he was funny. He was freaking, he had to be at the ground for like, say, 1:30 or something. He'd be there 12 o'clock with a brown bag lying on his back, saving his energy. Fucking hell. I go, wow. And I smile at them. But, you know, before the start of it, you're not too bothered about it. And when you go out on the pitch and you hear the crowds and that, fucking hell. I mean, every fucking challenge, every pass is just like applaud or whatever, you know, the moaning and the groaning.
Did Walter Smith used to give you the Wednesday off and every Tuesdays went out on the piss?
We'll come in maybe sometimes in the afternoon, just have a light half an hour, but he knew on a Monday we wouldn't train hard, because he knew some of the lads would be on the piss and that, so he wouldn't train as hard, but then on Tuesday he'd run the bollocks off her, and then he'd give us a Wednesday off. But Tuesday sometimes training was pretty rock hard, like, you know.
What was the game you were drinking whiskey at half time and you came out and scored 2?
Cup final against Hearts.
Were you nervous?
No, I was just sitting there, and I had the first half wasn't the best, and I had that row with Coisty, and I was just sitting there. I said, fucking hell, I went, sorry Coisty. He said, I had any problem, and I was sitting there, I said, fucking, I've got to pull my finger out. And then Archie Knox went, you had a fucking drink? I went, no. He went, go and get one. I went, oh, okay. So I went to the boardroom, I had a treble, and I went, okay, here's another one. So I whacked that in, and he went, you had a drink now? And I went, yeah. He said, no, fucking go out and do the business. I went, okay, and I went and scored 2 in 20 minutes. But afterwards, we won the cup final. Walter come up and he says, right, guys, we're all going out tonight. Gazza, you've had your drink, you're fucking staying indoors. I went, all right then. So I went home, and I was about 10 o'clock at night, and I found out where the players were, in the way, the managers and the wives. So I turned up at the Indian restaurant, took my clothes up and danced on the table, bollock naked. Yeah,
as you do.
Yeah, it was a do. So it was a bit of a laugh. Uh-huh. But yeah, I had some laughs, and, you know, but I was enjoying my football again. Walter said it was, no, same for Glasgow Rangers. He says, well, have you great team spirit. If you want to be here with the lads, they'll have a beer with you. He says, and you'll enjoy your football again. But people think it was hard, easy playing for Rangers. Was it? Fuck. I mean, if I played for Kilmarnock and I'm playing against Rangers, I want to sign for Rangers. So I'll be working my nuts off to play well against Rangers, so the gaffer will pick me to sign for Rangers.
Who was the best player on the team at that time? How was Brian Loudrop?
He was class, yeah. We used to pass each other and make noises. Wee, you know. He was, if you wanted a few minutes break, just give him the ball, which was class. Coisty, his fucking finishing was incredible. I said, how do you fucking finish? He says, you know, if I went for the top corner, I would never hit it. So I used to aim for the keeper, and he'd say to go in the top corner. Yeah, well, I mean, George Alberts, fucking Bjorkland, he was unbelievable. You know, Andy Gorham didn't make mistakes for years. I mean, the time I was there, I was just unfortunate. You had Stuart McCall could just run for fun, you know, and he got stuck in for a little player. You know, so we went out there, but, you know, we had times of Walter Smith saying, right, and if you don't win 4-0 today, I'm running you on a Sunday. And he would. So, you know, you're under pressure. And he said, right, that's 2 now. I want another 2 goals. Otherwise, I'm telling you, you'll be training hard all week. So it'll be like fucking, that's what it was like to play for Rangers.
The Aberdeen game, you got a hat-trick. You scored 2 world-class goals, if I'm honest. And I know you scored 2, but then you get a penalty in the last minute, and McCoy takes the penalties.
Yeah.
Why did they give you the penalty?
Well, I come to the penalty, and I got the ball, and Coisy went, I'll take the penalties, Gazza. I went, fucking hell, Coisy. I says, this is for a hat-trick, man. I win the fucking 8 in a row. He says, yeah, but I'll take the penalties. I was, fucking, let's take it, man. And he went, listen, I could be leaving at the end of the season. He says, this could be my last goal for Rangers. So I went, well, if you're fucking leaving, fuck off, I'm taking this. And he went, go on then. And so, luckily enough, I changed my mind, because I always go to the other side. And I actually put it that side, you know. Because I remember when I took a penalty against Celtic and I missed, and I did that same penalty, and the keeper saved it, and I never go that side. I don't know, the last minute I just changed my mind, which I shouldn't have done, but it went in, look, fortunate enough. And then, you know, I've never won a championship before, so that was my first championship. And in the dressing room, I can't witness anything like it. It was incredible. It was incredible, you know. The players, you know, celebrating and stuff like that. And then you had a few tears, and I didn't realise a few of the players had tears in their eyes, and obviously you wondering why. And then I heard like a lot of them was going to know like the next season was going to be their last season together, really. Like Koshi was coming to the end of his time, Coffey was, Stuart McCall was. A lot of the players had all been together for so many years were going to be parting, you know, from a magnificent football club. But yeah, it was great celebrations. I loved it.
Why did you leave Rangers, Paul?
Well, I just heard Walter was leaving. Walter Smith, he just pulled us. He said, "I'm worried there's 10 games left." He said, "I'm getting sacked at the end of the season." And he said, "They're bringing in a manager, the card. He's a bit awkward, and the sort of person you are, you might not get on with him, and you'll be stuck with him, and he might not play you." Brian Robson, who's my idol, wants to sign you for Middlesbrough and go for promotion, and they're in the FA Cup final and that. He says, "Why don't you go?" And so I spoke to Dave Murray. He says, "We're going to get the same money we paid for you." So I thought, okay, then I'll go then. I didn't say anything to the lads. And I was on the halfway there, started crying my eyes out. And Dave Murray rang us. He says, "Look, just turn the car around, come back to the club." And I'd already spoke to Brian Robson. And I sat there for an hour thinking on the motorway. And I thought, I'll just go ahead with it. And I just carried on, went to Middlesbrough. Then obviously it was funny because in the cup final, I can hear like one Paul Gascoigne. And I'm thinking, who's that? And I looked at the stage, there was 10 of the Rangers players at the game singing one Paul Gascoigne. It was funny.
But
then it was so weird to see them, you know. Like, you know, fucking 1 week I'm like with Rangers, and then next thing I'm in a cup final, which I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the game at all. And I felt out of place. I felt lost. And I just felt like I shouldn't have left Rangers, you know.
Do you live with that? Is that a regret that you
massive,
you should have stayed?
Huge regret, yeah.
The Rangers fans still love you. My uncle Jojo and my young cousins Dean and David love you to bits. I've actually got a Rangers top. My young cousin Dean's wanting to sign it. But everybody thinks, even Greg gets here today, they fucking adore you.
Yeah, I do venues when I go on stage all around England and that, and the fans are good. Fucking Rangers once, nightmare. I mean, it was one of them I did, and I was supposed to talk for an hour. The fans sang for 55 minutes. I had to get the mic and say, "Lads, I'm supposed to talk, you know." Fucking that was it. I mean, I'd say, you know, I'd just say, I'd be sitting there and I think, right, I want to break from talking. So I just go, "Oh, the blow bells are blowing." And that's it. The fucking place erupted, you know. And then I remember sometimes I get someone to go on the stage just before me. And I was the next Everton captain. He's only young. I can't remember his name. And he says, "I'm going on first, do 15 minutes, and you, Gazza." And he went on stage, he's come back a minute later. He went, "Fuck that." He says, "They want me, I got booed off." He says, "I fucking never booed us when I played football." I felt so good for him. But yeah, the atmosphere when I do venues up there is, you know, I'm in for a good night, but the singing is just amazing considering I was there for 2 years. But, you know, I loved it, you know. I just feel like the person I am. I'm just like one of the fans, really.
Was it difficult, Paul, never being settled to a team for more than 2 or 3 years?
No, not really. It's just unfortunate, like, with sell players, like Newcastle, I was enjoying it with sell players. Then it was Tottenham, and it was only when Terry Venables says, "Look, Lacho coming in as an opportunity." He says, "Well, when I was manager in England, and I had the opportunity to be Barcelona manager," he says, "I thrived on it." He said, "I wanted to stay here, but," he says, "opportunity to go and play abroad, and play football abroad, you know." Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, I'm getting hammered a lot in England because of the World Cup thing, and the press wouldn't leave us alone. I thought, well, I'll give a break and go out there and play in the sun and that. It's just the same over in Italy, so wherever I went, like, you know. But then, you know, after 4 years and that, and the new manager, I didn't like him. And I thought, where am I going to go here? And I didn't want to go to Chelsea because of Hoddle. I mean, Hoddle says, "I found God." I says, "That must have been a fucking great pass." And then it was like Aston Villa, I didn't really want to go there, but, you know, the opportunity Rangers, I didn't even flinch. I just said yes within seconds, you know. And, you know, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, I know the 98 you get dropped, man. That absolutely broke you.
It's terrible, really. I mean, I went out that night. I know for a fact I went out that night with Chris Evans. I went back to Chris Evans, and someone took a photo with a mobile phone at 11 o'clock. I know that 6 of the England players were in Seoul till 6 o'clock in the morning. Not one of them hit the papers. And that night, when they talk about in the hotel, when he let me have a couple of beers and that, I went to bed with David Seaman and Paul Ince at 11 o'clock, and the players were up till 5 o'clock in the morning getting pissed. You know, none of that was said. And it was Walter Smith and Terry Venables always said to us, I always remember they said, "Be careful with him, Gazza. You want to make a name for yourself." And when he dropped us, you know. And even the players in the books, when they're in the books and it was discussing, I got dropped and might have had a chance of winning if I had played in it. So it took us a year to get over that. I was distraught. I was absolutely devastated, you know. And so, you know, I remember someone said, you know, in the World Cup 1990, make the most of it because it could be your only one. And they were right. Now, the 94, I missed that because I broke my arm in a game. And then the 98 one. And then obviously just quit, like, you know.
How was it then? When it was coming to the end of your career, did you go to Everton as well after
I went to
Middlesbrough?
Everton, yeah. I started enjoying my football. I was getting man of matches at 35. And then I knew I was coming to the end of my career and that. And then obviously started drinking badly. And then Wallace said, I went to treatment and come back and started finishing off and playing really well and scoring goals and enjoying my football again, like, you know. And then obviously David Moyes coming. Wallace says he was leaving, so I left. I went to Burnley, which was a bad move.
Would you have went anywhere Walter went, do you think, if he came in for you and it was at any team?
Yeah, because I remember years ago when I was on holiday with my ex-wife and I see him on the beach. And I said to my ex-wife, I said, see him over there? I said, that's the man that's have Rangers, him. I said, I'd love to play for him. It's supposed to be brilliant. And then 4 years later, I got talking to him, having a few drinks, and I was just, and then eventually I playing, but it was his son, Neil. He says, Dad, look, why am I going for Gazza? You went, he wouldn't sign for the Rangers. And obviously I did, you know. As, you know, if I think of any teams I'd love to play, go back and play for, but Rangers would be the one.
How was it in China?
Horrific. I mean, fucking hell. It was the most polluted place in the world. It was horrific. I mean, I thought I was going to be stuck there for life. It was horrific. I mean, they never paid us. I was there for 3 months. I scored on my debut, but then I started getting paranoid and thought I was going to be stuck there because it was just one street I lived in, was 100 yards long, and there was no one about. There was no shops. I mean, the barber's was a hut outside in the middle of the road. The dentist was the best. It was a chair with a guy with the pliers and the truth. Terrible. To pull your teeth out and give me that. I went, fucking hell. So my dad come over, Jimmy, I sent him back home. I said, you can't stay here. He says, go back. And then I was doing the Channel 4 documentary and I didn't look well. And they said, look, Paul, you better fucking get back home. And I went, okay. And I didn't see anything. And then the next thing, I just got on the quickest flight and just was there for 3 months and then come back, like, you know.
Mm-hmm. How was it, Paul, coming to the end of your career and you know that you had to retire?
Oh, horrific. Oh God, I remember Kenny Dalglish saying it was, you know, Paul, when you know you're going to quit, football, like 3 years before, start planning what you're going to do when you quit. And I went, yeah. So I'm thinking like, oh, it's okay, it's only 3 years. I'll wait. And then after a year, there's 2 years left, and I think, oh, I've still got 2 years. Next thing I know, I'm fucking retired. And I think, shit, what am I going to do now? Like, you know. You went from like, every time you went to bed at night time, you knew you were doing something in the morning. Where when you quit, you think, what am I going to do now? Like, you know, and I didn't really want to go into management. I did try it, catering manager. It's funny. The chairman says, Paul, get out to the 3rd division. I did. I put them in the fucking 4th. But he wasn't paying the players. And I used to speak to Alice Ferguson. I spoke to Walter. I said, just get out of there. Walter and Archie said, not for you there.
Was that a big void then, Paul, from not able to play football to then? Is that when you started replacing it with drink?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Started to drink badly. It was more like the spirits, really. I was always drinking beer and that. And then the spirits were the worst things. And then, you know, I'd go for treatment. And then I'd do all right for about 4 years and that. And then I'd get bored. And then it'd be like a couple of weeks binge. And then I'd just go. But, you know, I probably went to rehab really badly for drink twice. I've never been for drugs, but I've went for Red Bull. I went for Calpol. Fucking that was funny, Calpol in America. Sitting there, what are you in for? Heroin. What are you in for? Cocaine. What are you in for? Fucking this, that. There's a Gascoigne. What are you here for? Calpol. Fucking Calpol. Yeah, what's Calpol? I feed babies. Because I realised, like, Calpol has a 0.1% volume. So I used to, like, buy with 15 bottles and down them. So it'd be enough for a pint. And I remember I went to this chemist shop in Newcastle, and I went into the shop, and I went to the woman, can I have 9 bottles of Calpol? She went, Gazza, get out. I went, shh, don't tell anyone. I says, I've got 3 wives and 9 kids. I've got to feed the kids. She went, fuck off out this shop. I was bought from every chemist in Newcastle. So, yeah, I went for Calpol, I went for Red Bull, I went for fucking just stupid things, really. And I just thought, you know, I'm just got to just get well again. So I just started training. And then started playing golf when I come down here. Picked up golf, which is passing, and I got some good counsellors. Katie and Matt and the kids are helpful. You know, I sometimes go around there for a few days and just watch Netflix. Don't get fed, like. Yeah, they're that tight, they only cry from one eye. Katie's that tight, she only cries from fucking one eye, honestly.
How was it, Paul, getting into rehab for the first time? Is that when you admitted for the first time that you had a problem?
I didn't really admit it the first time. Yeah, I didn't want to admit it, you know. I was only there for 21, I should say the 28. Eric Clapton come and seen us. It was so funny, he says, when I ask you 50 questions, he says, 5 and under, you're non-alcoholic, and 5 and over, you are. And I went, okay, and I'll fucking lie in everyone. So I answered the 50 questions. I come up with 35 fucking points, and that's telling lies. So eventually, once I said I was an alcoholic, I started going to meetings. I like meetings. I haven't been for a while. But, you know, I just try my best, and, you know, sometimes I need to go to meetings. But sometimes the counsellors, I play golf with them, I'll go play snooker with them, and when I'm playing golf, I have a chat with them, how's things going, or the other person might knock on the door.
Did you pass away, Paul, in one of the rehabs? Did your heart stop or something?
Yeah, in America, I took a couple of seizures and took us in the hospital, and the shakes were that bad that put me in coma. It's like a coma thing, induced coma for about 18 days. And then I woke up, said inject my heart and lungs, keep us alive, and that scared us. I did all right, I stayed sober for 5 years. But I remember going back to the treatment centre and ringing home. I said, I'm ready to come home now. When you've been in a fucking coma for 18 days. And I went, have I been in a coma? They went, yeah. I went, see you later. I'll see you in about 5 weeks and put the phone down. But I enjoy rehab, you know, when you're amongst other people in the same thing. But then sometimes it can be tough, you know, because of this trustworthy, you got to get everything out. And sometimes, you know, you don't want to. But I managed to do that, you know. And I did a book about it, one book of the year, and did another book of that, one book of the year. So, you know, sometimes some things good come out of it. But I know when I'm doing wrong, and it's not brilliant. I regret it afterwards.
Yeah, listen, Paul, we all do wrong in life. Yeah. We all make mistakes, and like, you're still here to tell the tale. That shows you how much a fighter you are.
I think it's not the drink as much as the fucking consequences. You know, I mean, sometimes my consequences are horrific. Yeah, so...
How difficult is, Paul, to, when you see yourself in the front page and back page, when
it doesn't bother us now.
You're used to it?
Yeah, you get so much used to it. It's just the lies. But
the press used to put bottles of gin outside your house, and then you used to pick it up, walk to the bin, and they took photos?
Yeah, I used to do that, yeah. And then I got sick of, like, people ringing you up, what you're doing, and you fucking having to explain yourself all the time. So, like, I just changed my number for a couple of months and I'll give it to anybody to speak to the family or whatever. And then, you know, you fucking... So I got sick of saying, no, it's not true, and it's not true, and it's not true. And then the worst one, I lose work through it. The amount of work I've... Oh, I'm sorry, no, mate, I'm not doing this. You know, there was one time I was getting a job for 15 grand. And I'm sitting in Bournemouth in my apartment, and I'm waiting for the guy picking us up at, like, say, 4 o'clock. And it happens 4, and I say, where are you? He says, oh, you're in the news. You're in Spain in rehab. Been there 2 weeks. I went, I'm not in fucking Spain. Where'd you get that from? He says, oh, it's just been on the news. So I missed out on that job because the press were just telling lies. So I missed out on a fortune in regards to the lies side of it, you know, and then you just try and so you just got to get somebody that's understanding. So, like, Katie's been a great help. So if I was struggling with anything, I'll just ring Katie and she'll get onto it for us and that. So it's good to have that support, you know.
How does it make you feel that guys like Wayne Rooney and stuff come forward when you were struggling to pay for rehab and stuff? They know you've got the backing from people who adored you? Yeah,
it was nice of them. I heard that, you know. They all chipped in and that was nice of them. You know, and I really appreciated them for that. You know, I thanked them. I got the chance to thank everybody. You know, and then obviously with the PFA, I paid them back. So, you know, so it was nice of them. So I think Rooney can keep that 40 quid.
What about the Raoul Moting, the guy when you were going down with the fishing rods? You were bang on the drinking drugs then, eh?
Yeah, that's when I took bad. That's when my dad put me in a mental home for 11 days, you know, and that fucking pulled me around really well. And I didn't drink for a long time. After that, you know, that Raoul Moting thing, I really honestly thought it was my friend and that, and didn't realise what he had did to other people until obviously after about 2 weeks when I pulled myself around and thought, fucking hell. So that was quite embarrassing for everyone, but, you know, I got through that saga and then obviously did the apology again. Yeah, and then just, you know, like I said, I know, you know, it doesn't bother me drinking, whether I drink or not, you know. It doesn't bother us. I know I'm more happier when sometimes not drinking. You know, I can sometimes be sad drunk, I suppose, but Apart from that, I'm just enjoying life again. You know, last year, not just me, but the whole country who struggled regards work and that. So all the work's coming back. He's been working a nuts off with all the work coming through. So just staying on the right track and just enjoying the work that's ahead of us.
Yeah, that's all you can do. What about Maradona? Was both you meeting the tunnel and you were both pissed?
Because they didn't play us against Juventus. I fucked up a year, Disney. And I says, all right, I'll play against Maradona. And I had a few bottles of champagne on the way on the flight. I was just in the tunnel and I went, Diego, I'm pissed. And he went, it's okay, Gazza, so am I. That was hilarious. And obviously I went out and beat 5 players and scored. And I looked at him and I says, fucking beat that. And, you know, he scored. And it was a great old free kick and that. And then it was just, afterwards I said, do the press conference. I can't really get my words out properly. He went, fuck off, you're on your own. Yeah, it's a shame what's happened to him, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he was with himself, I was surprised he lasted as long as he did, you know.
Yeah, he was bad.
Because I remember when I first went that charity match as well in Manchester, and he was having a cigar, and he fucking, oh, Diego, all right? And he went, Gazza, did you see how fucking fat I was last year? I mean, he was ballooned right up, and I started laughing. I went, yeah, massive. Yeah, so, you know, God knows what he was on in that. Because they say cocaine, you lose weight. He was massive, so fuck it. I think he must have fucking ate himself. I think he's ate himself twice.
A legend, man.
Great player.
But you were classed as you're on the same you're on the same bracket as legends like this as well.
I loved it when I played. You know, I do miss it. I still miss it. I find it hard to watch football. Sometimes I find it hard when I see a player who fucking like on 100 grand a week, not bothered with the money, but he can't even trap a bag of cement. You know.
What do you think you've spent through the years, Paul?
Well, you know, people say I spend it all on drinking and drugs. Drugs never, and drink, no, because wherever I went, people were just buying us drink for free anyway, like, you know. I got divorced. I give a lot of money to my family. I mean, I must have bought my dad about 80 cars, 2 boats and fucking other thingies. I've always had my family out all my life. But I'm happy, you know. Spend quite a lot, I think, in the houses and then being just renting places. You know, but I just feel like now, the age I am, I'm just a happy-go-lucky guy, like, you know.
Do you think you've been used a lot all your life, Paul?
Yeah, some of the agents have used us, took the piss and that, and I knew what they were doing, but I just let it go, you know. And it's hard to find someone to trust, but, you know, when I got rid of the other 2, or the other one, and then I come here for a break, and I just thought, why don't I give Katie a chance to be my manager? And I've never looked back since, to be fair.
Liam
I know she's still ripping us off a little bit.
Classic manager.
I mean, I've seen her go in the fridge before and pinch me chocolate and fucking she must think I'm thick.
Yeah.
But nah, she's good. She comes round and checks and that makes sure everything's okay, so which is good, like, you know, have someone you can trust.
Yeah, Liam Gallagher's done a few videos, says that you were partying one night and he put out a fire extinguisher.
It was in town. It was in London. And someone said Liam Gallagher's in the restaurant, posh as fucking. I went, all right. So I got out the taxi and I went up and I went, hi Liam. First time I met him, he went, oh, you all right, guys? I sit down. And he had a big filled steak in front of him. And I had a couple of drinks and that. And he went, do you want a steak? I went, no, I'm not hungry. And he went, all right, I'm just 2 seconds, I'm going to the toilet. He went to the toilet and I fucking ate his steak. And he'd come back and he went, where's my fucking steak? And I rubbed my stomach and I went, cheers. And he went, fuck it. So I thought he's waiting to order another steak. He come back with a fire extinguisher and just fucking mullered us all over. Wow, Jesus Christ. It just sprayed it all over us, man. Just all over the table. Didn't give a fuck. I just put it down. And then we just started eating again, having a few drinks. Yeah, had some laughs with him. He's a good guy as well. Fucking talented.
Yeah, amazing guy.
Yeah, so I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of famous people. But I just take them as if one of me, you know. Like I said, I just feel like I'm just like a normal guy. You know, lucky enough to be good with his feet. Mm-hmm. I met a lot of people that, you know, I'm not know Brian Robson. I know of. The other people that I've met is just, you know, I just take it as like they're just one of me. That's it, you know.
Yeah. What's your best moment in football, Paul?
I think getting picked for England. I think that goal when the press was out Euro '96 for Scotland. I think. I don't know, I just, wherever I went, I think the best moment in football is when I obviously made me debut with Newcastle, but every time I put a shirt on, it means something for us, for the fans, like, you know. And just when I play well, I feel like I've achieved something, you know. And I used to see it in Tottenham. Fucking hell, I don't know why, but I used to see the lads, do us a favour. I'm fucking sick of getting man of the match. Somebody else get it for the day. And the lads was laughing, and I get man of the match. Or I'd see it in Rangers dressing room. Walter used to laugh, and he used to laugh, and I'd say, lads, I'd be tired. Just give us the ball and fucking keep hold of it for a few minutes. I just wind them up. So just all throughout my career. But I think the times were like that Rangers thing. It was achievement. I mean, from midfield to score 38 goals. I enjoyed that. And I think every goal I scored for Rangers meant something, the celebrations. You look at some of the players now when they score.
Dyes your hair blonde?
Yeah, blonde, yeah, fucking hell. And then all the fans start dyeing their hair. They're all like, all ginger nuts. It's like, fucking hell, they're not blonde, man. Yeah. Yes, but, just every time I put a shirt on, I just look forward to it.
Yeah, what a phenomenal career, Paul. And like I say, you're adored all over the world, and even when people speak about you, their eyes light
I know,
up,
the press give a stick and say you could have done better.
Fuck them, man.
I know. I made 4 moves, and I'm the most expensive player to move in 4 things. I've achieved every fucking football club. I've loved by all the fans. It was only the time where I missed. The only regret I have in football is missing them 4 years, I could have got 100 caps for England. I missed, with the ligaments, that was a year. And then a broken kneecap, that was another 9 months. And then a year and a half with a broken fibula and tibia. I try not to think about it because, if I had, fuck knows what damage I would have done to players on the pitch if I hadn't did them injuries. But, I just thought, fucking, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play the way I used to. And then it was only when I started playing for Rangers and started beating players for fun. I remember that Kilmarnock kid. He's a boxer. He used to be a boxer. He went to papers and said he's going to get fucking whoppers on the pitch. I was in the dressing room and I just said, "Oh, son, welcome to your worst nightmare." And Partick Thistle, I think, was I scored 2 and put the ball through his legs and got sent off. And I remember going in the dressing room with boots and says, "Yes, son, one day you play like that." I seen him when they were doing a venue at Rangers Football Club. He turned up. He said, "I've still got the boots." He says, "Fuck me, happened as that day." And I just laughed. I felt embarrassed. I went, "I know." He says, "Can you remember what you said to us?" I went, "Yeah, I think so."
Even though you're very outspoken and always the class clown, were you doing that because you were shy, Paul?
Yeah, sometimes I got away with the shyness. I can get embarrassed quite quickly sometimes, and I do get the hump, but I sometimes overshadowed by just being funny and that. And then sometimes I'm just natural. I just see things just comes off the cuff, and I'll say, "Where did that come from?" So I like to think I'm a funny guy. But can be serious as well when I want to be. But I don't like being serious. It's fucking boring.
Yeah, fuck it. Life's too short, man.
I know, exactly.
You look at all your highlights and it's all jokes and laughters and
I know.
world class goals. So listen, mate, your legacy will live on for hundreds of thousands.
So I say when I go on stage, I've got funny things to tell you, but I don't know about football. I can't fucking remember any of it.
So going forward, Paul, amazing career, mate, and like I say, you're loved by everyone. What's the plans for the future?
Just whatever's, as long as I stay well in that. And then we've got quite a few venues laid out. We've got about 8, 9 so far. I've just started coming out, saying things. Got this thing, hopefully it goes ahead. I mean, I was going to do Strictly Come Dancing in Italy, which was cancelled because of the virus. And then I was doing a documentary on Lazio, that was cancelled because of the virus. So maybe got a book deal maybe coming up. And then just see what goes from there,
Yeah, but you've never shied away from a challenge, Paul?
No, never. And I think one thing just leads to another, once word gets around. Like, I'm off Twitter, I'm off Instagram, I'm off Facebook and that. So I didn't use any of that because I got addicted to it and I kept on looking at it, thinking, this and that. And
it's like what reading a newspaper.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
Negative bullshit.
I know, exactly. So I didn't bother with any of that. And so really, I'm just trying to enjoy life as much as possible, and just make the most of what I've got.
Yeah. Before we finish up, Paul, when you done your knee, when it got shattered, see the guy that punched you, do you ever know him?
No.
Did he never come forward many years later?
I think I did get told another guy's chopped his hand off for doing it. But that was horrible. I remember going to the hospital and my leg was bent, I was agony, so it was only when I straightened it out was okay. And the nurse pushed my knee down and her thumb went right through. And I went, "It's okay, you've heard it." I went, "Fucking hold on." I said, "My kneecap's jamming on my thigh. I could feel the lump here." She went, "No, it's not." I think she was frightened to tell it. So I got on the phone to the physio at Tottenham. I said, "I think I fucking broke my kneecap off." So I jumped in a taxi and headed to London at 1 o'clock in the morning. if I remember the fucking car breaking down on the motorway, I was like, fucking hell, and the police stopped us, the police pulled up, and I was sitting in the back, and he says, oh, Gazza, what's happened? And I broke my fucking kneecap. So he got the car working again, and then I was just straight in the hospital. And it was an amazing job he did. He pulled it back down like on a levy, and then, you know, like a champagne bottle with a wire. That's what he did my kneecap, and then sewed it back up. And then that was tough because I couldn't move, and I stayed on the settee for 3 months, which wasn't too bad. I just get the gun out and shoot Jimmy up the arse, something to do, and then dye the hair different colours. So that 3 months was tough. But yeah, you know, they're just the only regrets. Them stupid, that challenge, I shouldn't have been there for the challenge on Charles, like, you know. But yeah, so it's really just enjoy life, like, you know.
How's the relationship with Jimmy now?
I've spoken for about 10 years now.
Apparently lost a lot of weight, 13
yeah,
or something.
Not spoken for about 10 years. He went to the papers and did a story which was lies, like, you know.
So trust issues just going again.
Yeah, that's twice he did it, and he obviously made the money and then used it to get married or something. So I've just not spoken to him.
Just before we finish up, Paul, I know you lost your dad a couple of years ago. How did you handle that?
Not very good. I mean, I was so close to my dad, really was close to my dad, you know. It was funny as well, when it was just me and him in the hospital bed and he passed away and that, I fucking jumped on the bed and punched him. I headbutted and punched him, got my own fucking back when I was younger. And then I just lied and hugged him for 45 minutes. And then it was only like, you just think he's still there. And then I think now and again, with Saturdays I miss him because I used to like put his bets on for him and sit with him and watch some of the football. And just stay at his for days, like, you know. So yeah, Saturdays I miss him more than anything else. Yeah, badly. And he was so dry. Like, he would talk to you for an hour, he wouldn't fucking talk to me. He talked to Katie, he talked to anyone, not me. Fucking hell. Yeah. Our dad, yeah. I said, do you want a cup of tea, Dad? He'd go, 8:30. Fucking hell. Yeah, so, yeah, he was dry, but I loved to take him all around the world with us when I played, like, you know.
He would have been proud of you, Paul,
he
man.
Loved
the
it, yeah.
memories that you give him, man. So you should be proud as well, mate, that everything that you've achieved in life and still standing here fighting, try to kick on for a better year this year as well. It shows you your character, Paul.
Yeah.
How does it feel talking about your past and certain stories?
Don't mind it. Sometimes, like, at the moment I'm all right. Probably in a few hours' time.
Tired?
No, I'll just be thinking about it. Thinking, you know, good times I had. You know, I'd like to think I had more good times than I did bad times, especially the football side of it. And no one could ever take that away from us, you know. I just still sometimes wish I was playing now. But I need a hip operation, so I'll get that done. I might start playing for the over 50s. Who knows?
But you're not supposed to be playing for Tottenham because you were out running and shit. You were
I trained and all that. Yeah. And then we were all given a pair of new boots. And I had my own pair, and I thought, I may as well wear these new ones. And because of new boots, and I didn't warm up properly, and I just felt my Achilles go straight away. Oh, I was gutted. Just the last 5 minutes. But, you know, what a stadium that was. I mean, Katie and Matt come, but yeah, even the fans were fantastic towards us as well, like, you know. Yeah. So it's hard. It's hard. I like to go to games, but I just get past it. I never get to watch the games. You know, Gazza, how are you doing? What's up? And we can have a selfie, and that's fucking hell. So I end up sometimes leaving after 15 minutes. Just going to the toilet. Fuck, I'll be in the house watching the second half.
Yeah. Paul, listen, brother, for coming on today and telling your story. It's been amazing.
Pleasure.
So before we finish up, Paul Gascoigne is known as a funny man. Give me one of your funny stories before we end.
Well, my God, nothing to do. Says, Gazza, we're from the sun. I says, I'm from the earth now. Fuck off. Now, one was Tottenham. I played for Tottenham. And the lads went, Gazza, do something funny. I went, no, I cannot. I says, the press are watching. I'm just being bought for 2.2 million. I've got to be fucking serious. And I went, you born bastard. So now I'm driving home and I got wound up. So I look across the road on the way home and I see a zoo. And I thought, that's okay. So I went home and I couldn't sleep. I knew what I was going to be doing. So at 48, I went to the zoo, climbed the fence sort of thing, knocked on the guy's door who owned the zoo. He lived in it. I said, need a favour. He went, fucking hell, Paul Gascoigne, what do you want? Anything. I went, ostrich, please. So he went, you want a fucking ostrich? Yeah, please. So he gives an ostrich and I put it on my 8 shirt on the back. And I went on the training ground, and it was so fucking funny. And I'm waiting for the lads training, and I get this ostrich out of the back of the car, and I threw it on the fucking training pitch. Where fucking lads were fucking laughing their heads off, and this ostrich is running all over with a Gascoigne on my shirt on. But what was funny, the lads finished training at 12:30. You ever try catching a fucking ostrich? So I got to finish around about 5 o'clock. caught the ostrich because I got tangled up in the shirt, and I took it back to the zoo. He fucking went off it. He said, "Look, the fuck, what are you doing to me ostrich? The feathers were all over the place and everything." I went, "The gaffer doesn't want it shit in front of goal, but it's quick as fuck." Yeah. So I've had some good laughs.
Paul, listen, mate, God bless you,
Cheers,
brother,
mate.
and thanks for coming on today.
Pleasure, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Pleasure all mine, mate.
Take
Cheers.
care.
Check out more of my podcasts on the right, and be sure to like, share, and comment your thoughts on this week's podcast. Thank you.